Ladies and 乡亲们，大家有没有想过一件事？把健身网红、抬杠狂魔、营养学博，他来自美国，几个元素综合在一起，就好比把迪丽热巴、真皮沙发、自然锅巴、马尔扎哈放到一起一样。好，我们是个正经的频道。Dr. Layne Norton 是著名健身网红，也是营养学博士。不过他最为人知的是，常常在网络上跟各路流派热烈交流。基本上被他点名过的领域，包括但不限于吃链氨基酸、断食、胶原蛋白、生酮饮食、全肉饮食。不过，毕竟他是我们敬爱的 Huberman 教授的朋友，所以我对 Dr. Norton 也是很尊敬的。其实 Dr. Norton 是一个很风趣且博学的健身跟营养学专家，他常常在自己的频道分享一些类似流言终结的新知，栏目名称就叫做那如果你没心思看的话，看我的频道也可以。Real Life 开诊将为大家把英语圈的生活改善新知，定期以超浓缩加划重点的形式制作成影片，供各位朋友参考及分享。您的支持是我持续做这个节目的动力。喜欢的话，请务必订阅、点赞、按小铃铛哦。
I tell people, like, exercise is one of the only things that you can do independent of weight loss that will improve all your health parameters. The amount of exercise you need to get massive benefits is such a small, like, there was a research study done looking at vigorous physical activity, not even continuous, but just like throughout the day, cumulative. 4 minutes vigorous activity per day reduced cancer risk by, I believe, 20%. And then if you got up to 10 minutes, I think it was 30%. I'm sorry, you got 4 minutes. And some people will say, well, it's a cohort study, XYZ. Yeah, but we have randomized control trials. Human randomized control. Looking at very short bursts of exercise, seeing improvements in glucose metabolism, blood lipids, inflammation, and then now the cognitive stuff too. There was actually a recent randomized control trial where they took people with men with major depressive disorder or general anxiety disorder, and they had them do 2 25-minute sessions of resistance training a week. That's it. It was for 8 weeks. The improvements in major depressive disorder and general anxiety disorder, the effect size for major depressive disorder was 1.7. For those who aren't familiar with effect sizes, 0.2 is a small effect size, 0.5 is a modest, and anything above 0.8 is considered large. 1.7 is massive. And SSRIs fall between like 0.3 to 0.8. Like usually the best you see is about a 0.8, which again, I'll tell people what I'm not saying is that we should just get rid of SSRIs and everybody exercise, because sometimes maybe somebody needs an SSRI just to get them out of bed so they'll actually go exercise. But like if we're looking at how powerful that lever is, it's amazing. And then you look at the effects on bone health, you look at the effects on mental health, cognition, even short-term exercise improves cognition. I think there was just a recent study showing that even an acute bout of exercise can improve. I think it was memory formation. I could be wrong. I think, again, one of the limiters is I try to meet people where they are is like, hey, you see me train for 2-3 hours a day, but that's because I'm trying to be the strongest person in the world in my weight class. You don't need to be doing that. Even if you just go walk vigorously for 30 minutes in a day, you're killing it. But of course, I would recommend people resistance train because I think there are so many benefits. Yeah, it just doesn't take that much.
We are speaking the same language. Like they went out and did these little short bursts of physical activity and it had a profound effect, cumulative, right? How easy is it to do like 2 minutes of like sprinting up the stairs or whatever? I actually work out mostly for the brain benefits, by the way. Like if I don't get some form of exercise, whether it's resistance training or doing some more cardio, I am not in a good space in my head. The rose-colored glasses are gone. I can see the negative in a lot of things, comparisons. I'm just in a bad mood. I am a very different person if I get exercise versus if I don't. And so if it's like, for me, exercise is necessary. You know, like I brush my teeth. I have to do exercise. If I don't, then I'm not in a good position.
And so I think what I'd like to point out in that is you have made it a habit as part of your lifestyle. That it's not, can I go exercise today? Do I have time for it? It's, this is on the top list of this is going to get done. Just like brushing your teeth. And I think one of the things that I really try to hone in on with people is try to get away from something having to feel good to get you to do it. I love to train, but it doesn't feel good all the time. I'm going to go in and do the things I know are conducive to me being in good health, regardless of how I feel about it. Because if you're waiting for it to feel good, feelings are like the wind. And if you're kind of basing how you act based on that. You're just floating around. Do you feel motivated to brush your teeth? No, you do it because you know if you don't brush your teeth, they're going to go to crap. The same thing happens with your body if you don't exercise. And again, it doesn't have to be a bunch of exercise. Speaking of the cognitive benefits, I mean, I was diagnosed at age 6 with ADHD. Honestly, the more, like as I look back, just thinking about it now, the more I got into exercising consistently, the better my performance in school got. Even though I tell other people you don't need to train for 2 or 3 hours, I am such a hyperactive brain going 1,000 miles an hour that if I didn't have that, my best friend tells me all the time, he's like, dude, I wouldn't want to see you if you couldn't train for 2 hours. He's like, I would not want to be around you. You'd be intolerable. I think maybe subconsciously there was some of that I just like felt better overall and loved doing it. Actually, there was another study that just got published. I just covered it. They did a randomized control trial. I think it was in a Nordic country. And they had people over age 65 do a year of either high intensity resistance training, meaning they were getting them within a few reps of failure on each set, moderate intensity, which was like bodyweight stuff, bands. They were staying further away from failure, but they were doing some resistance, or no resistance training, but they were active. Like I think the average step count per day was like 9,500 in this cohort, which is actually pretty high. So these were active older people. They had follow-up at 1 year and then 3 years after that. So 4 years total. And they actually looked at people who stopped resistance training for the 3 years after. They still had better strength, better lean mass. Yes, they had less than their peak after they'd been doing it for a year, but it had this protective effect against age-related decline and sarcopenia, because the other two groups, they declined significantly. And even the group that did that 1 year of resistance training, 4 years after they started, had less visceral fat too. One of the things people will ask me is, I'm this age, am I too old to start? Or can I resistance train? Or I do this. Everybody, if your spinal cord works, you can resistance train and it's good for you. I think resistance training has gotten this bad rap because a lot of people view it as this like really aesthetic, narcissistic thing because of bodybuilding. And yes, there is that component to it, but your body is so made to move against stuff. If you don't do that, you are drastically accelerating your aging and your cognitive decline as well. Just look at the research on people over age 65. If they fall and break something and go into the hospital, better than 50% chance that they're dead within a year. Like it's a pretty scary statistic.